How's it going, you guys? Ross out here in Singapore, and thank you so much for joining me on the Night Out podcast. You guys, I really appreciate all of your support, all of your comments, feedback, all the discussions that have ensued ever since. And you know what? I'm really enjoying Netflix again as well. So I've been watching a couple of different shows, revisiting some old ones, and just enjoying the flow a little bit. I slowed down this month. I made sure that I closed out my paid Facebook group because I felt like I was giving a lot of energy in there, but I wasn't getting a lot of feedback. So I need to switch gears and find out what my thing is, because it worked for a little while, but I think 6 months is way too long. So maybe I'll give 3-month courses going forward. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's in the top of my head at the moment. But I'm enjoying all this free time a little bit and enjoying the release. So the good news is, with all this free space comes plenty of opportunity to sit and think and see what else I'm able to offer, and maybe package that up into a course or a journal. I've been thinking about journals a lot lately, actually. I think I created some a while ago. I think I mentioned it before. Chakra journals that kind of inform you of what each chakra is in charge of, what happens when they're off balance, what happens when they're in balance, what you can do to balance them out. And that includes music and experiences, yoga stretches, humming, chanting, all those things. And I think I have the frameworks done pretty well. Like I said in a previous episode, I sent them off to a friend. She told me they were wrong, and instead of checking to see if they were wrong or not, I kind of got offended and put them away. So I'm about to dig those back out, I think, and see what I can do with those. And then also, I think I have plenty that I can offer in the way of digital downloads. I kind of want to do calendars, you guys, and I kind of want to do planners, because I need a planner and I don't want to go buy one anymore. I kind of want to make one the way that I would use it. So I'm about to pull out all my old planners and see what worked in each of those and see what I can create from there. So stay tuned, plenty coming down the pipe. I'm about to open up my Etsy store and make sure that I offer some things in there as well. So more platforms, more content. You know me, I don't sit still for very long. But more than that, I've been thinking a lot about forgiveness and what that means. I know we say forgive ourselves and forgive those who trespass against us and all that stuff, and it's all well and good, but what the hell does that mean? Because in words, I can say, yes, I forgive you, but in action, what does that look like? In feeling, what does that look like? A lot of times I feel like in the past, when I've asked for forgiveness, let's take me and my mom as always, right? Fight with my mom, ask her for forgiveness, please, I'm sorry, I hope you forgive me. It's my way of asking, can we move past this? Can we go back to a semblance of normal where you're not mad at me and we can actually approach each other as regular human beings? But that, I don't think, is all of what forgiveness is. Because if I look at the definition according to Google, it says psychologists generally define forgiveness as a conscious, deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance towards a person or group who has harmed you, regardless of whether they actually deserve your forgiveness. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting, nor does it mean condoning or excusing offenses. So, from what I gather in my small little brain, it is the deliberate decision to release feelings of resentment or vengeance, and I can understand that part. So when I ask for forgiveness from my mother, it's me asking for us to be able to move on. Can you let go of the fact that I hurt you and understand that I did it from a place of I didn't know better, or I wanted my way for a moment, and so I did something and it inadvertently hurt you, or maybe I knew it was going to hurt you and I did it anyway, and so I'm asking for your forgiveness. Can we move past this? But there are moments when they say you may not get the apology that you were looking for, but you need to forgive anyway. And I've had those moments too. So when I'm looking back at some of the people that I've had to forgive without ever getting acknowledgement of the fact that they hurt me or an apology for the fact that they hurt me, I've had to forgive them. Meaning to say that for my sake and for my sanity, I'm going to put this whole altercation behind me. As in, I don't want to sit there and think about it. I don't want to sit there and wait for you to come apologize. I'm going to pack it away and put it up because it's not going to affect my day-to-day life. I will not allow it to affect my day-to-day life. So for those people who I've suffered mental abuse from sexual abuse from, people who have beaten me, people who have bullied me, any of those kinds of situations, most times they think they were justified in the things that they did, right? And I know I'm not going to get an apology. I'm not even going to get acknowledgement. So in that case, right, rather than avoid those people because I'm not forgiving them until they come apologize to me, rather than do that, I'm going to forgive them without telling them that I forgive them. It's for me, it's not for them. I'm going to forgive them because then I get a chance to let go of that other thing that I'm holding, right? I got plenty of things on my plate. I got responsibilities to take care of. I have to find a way to make money. I have to raise my kid and not screw her up. That's a whole nother podcast. But with all of these things on my plate, I don't have time to be mad at you as well. I don't have time to remember the fact that, remember the time where you hurt my feelings. I don't have that kind of energy. I can't be thinking about all those things at the same time, because then there would be nothing left for me to produce with, to create with, to live my own life with. So a lot of times when I decide to forgive other people without the apology, I'm doing it for me. Because if I don't put it away, it has the potential to run wild and take over my entire life. So then I'm focused on all of the people who have done me wrong and all of the people who have not apologized for it. And then I get to be mad. So then it becomes, I've painted myself into a corner. I've become a victim because I can't move forward until this, and this happens. But that's not in my hands. How people respond, how people apologize, how people understand what they've done wrong, it's not in my hands. And if I'm going to sit around waiting for that, my life is on pause. And then I have no one to blame for my not growing but me. And I don't want to blame myself. I don't want to say that I got in my own way. I do enough of that when I'm afraid to do things. You know what I'm saying? So I forgive people for me so that I can put down some of that pain. I don't have to hold on to it anymore because it's not helping my current situation. Let's say I got in a fight with my cousin. I did one time. Once upon a time, I got in a fight with my cousin because he wanted to bully my little brother. He wanted to stop him from going to the bathroom. So he jumped in his way and ran into the bathroom before him because he's bigger than my little brother. And when I found out what happened and my baby brother had peed on himself, I was mad. So what I do was I grabbed my cousin on the way out the bathroom. I was waiting for him when the bathroom door opened. I grabbed him on the way out the bathroom and I posted him up on the hallway wall. And I was like, "Look, you ever do that again, I'm gonna beat the hell out of you." So from that day on, for a little while, I was mad at him. But it didn't change the fact that he did apologize and he was very sorry, but I still had a grudge for a little while. But guess what? Me holding a grudge stopped us from having fun, stopped us from really enjoying each other's company, because the altercation had passed and he apologized, but I refused to forgive him. I refused to let it go and put it down because I was mad. I wanted to show him exactly how mad. It's almost like I was trying to punish him by being mad at him, but guess what? I didn't have fun and neither did he. So I got punished too. Like, what the hell? Why did I get punished? So from that day on, I realized, okay, if they apologize, if they seem like they're actually, feeling badly for what they did, fine. Forgive them. Let it go. It's not a big deal. The other thing is I realized that if the situation has passed and now, a couple weeks later, it has nothing to do with what you're doing right now, why would you hold on to it? Let me give an example. So once upon a time, when I was working for the Grand Hyatt, there was a young lady who was colleagues with me, and I thought we were really good friends. And I understood that, she was a really hard worker. She was very good at what she did. She was able to help the guests and be, diligent and effective and so kind and gracious. And she was a really great girl. I thought we were really friends. And there came a time where, I think a couple of days in a row, where I was coming in from one shift and going into another. And as we finish the shift, then we go have lunch, and then we start the rest of our tidying up work. All the paperwork comes after lunch, basically. So I was meant to go to lunch, and because no one came to relieve me, I worked through lunch because I figured, I can't leave the lobby unattended. I have to be here. So because somebody forgot to come relieve me, I didn't go to lunch, which meant I had to go to lunch later than everybody else, which also affected the next shift. So guess what? She came in on the next shift for 3 days in a row, and this happened 3 days in a row. And because she was upset about it, she went behind my back. Rather than to come to me and tell me about what was going on, she went behind my back, reported me to our superior, and I got in trouble. Now, forget the fact that I didn't get a chance to eat lunch for 3 days in a row. Forget the fact that no one came to relieve me. They were mad because I impeded the next person's shift. So rather than go to the root of the problem, they reprimanded me, which, okay, I understand if you don't have the time to go dig up or whatever, fine. But what I was upset about was this young lady could have very easily come to me and said, "Hey, what's going on? What happened? I thought you were going to come up and, switch positions with me, or at least, hand over for the next shift or whatever. You never came." To which I would have responded, "Hey, oh shit, I forgot. Let me make sure that I call somebody down to relieve me so that we can, get this stuff sorted out properly." But because I never went to her and approached her about this because I didn't have proof it was her, and she never came to me and told me that she was the one who went to the authorities or whatever, we never got the chance to reconcile that. But it forever changed the way I went to work every day. It became something that was foremost in my mind. It became a reason that I I coped in order to avoid getting in trouble with management. I stopped doing the kind of work that I wanted to do. I didn't go all out with the guests anymore. I was too worried about the time and who was coming on shift, so I wasn't focused in the places that I should have been focused, and it changed who I was fundamentally at work. So if I had just forgiven it, whether I knew who it was or not, I would have been able to move on and continue doing the work that I know was quality hospitality work. But I didn't. I let the grudge contain me, and it forever changed how I did work at that job. Now, eventually, right, I left the job. And once I left the job, it's almost like it was an auto forgive because I didn't think about that thing anymore. I didn't think about that person anymore. I knew I wasn't going to run into that person ever again. So I just kind of let it go. But it happens like that. This is why people have family feuds, right? We have grudges between aunts and uncles or nephews and cousins and whatever else. But it's because we're unable to forgive the other person and think that, okay, well, maybe they had a lapse in judgment. It wasn't a really big deal or whatever, but I carry it with me now. So now every time I see that person or a member of that person's family, I treat them differently. I am not myself. It is almost like altering who I am just because I want to hurt you. I want to remind you of the pain you caused me. So it is not helpful to me. It is not helping me to proceed forward, to grow, to become a better person. Instead, it's keeping me in that past moment where I'm trapped and I feel like I have to behave this particular way in order to get this thing that I want. But guess what? Usually, even if you do get it, it doesn't mean anything because it's too far away from the incident itself. And now I'm going to judge the fact that you took too long to come to me and all of these other little itty bitty irritating details that kind of fuck up the relationship in the first place. There's another aspect of forgiveness I do want to talk about, and that is to forgive yourself. Now, this is something that's come up a lot in a lot of my clients' journeys with me. We talk a lot about, everything that they've done, everything that they've seen and heard, people who put them in predicaments where they have to choose between their values or avoiding pain, situations where they didn't know if they could stand on their own 2 feet or not, so they just didn't show up at all. Like there's a lot going on for all of you, and I understand that. I'm grateful that you come to me and ask for advice or some guidance at all. But with that being said, I feel like we really need to talk about self-forgiveness. Now, I'm going to start with myself. Unfortunately, I've had the distinct disprivilege of having to be in a situation where I needed to choose between keeping a child or getting rid of a child to save a relationship, because I was not strong enough at the time to keep the child who was the innocent in the situation. I sacrificed an innocent in order to keep a toxic relationship, which is completely stupid when I say it right now. But in the moment, I was terrified. I was scared for my life. I wasn't sure what would happen. I was scared on one hand of what the people would think of me. And on the other hand, I was scared of what would happen in the relationship if I would have to fight the rest of my life to keep the person involved in the child's relationship, to, keep us afloat, to provide for us financially. I don't know. There was a lot going on, and I did not feel like I was equipped to make that decision. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't a one-time decision. I have made this decision 4 times in my life. And I will forever feel like a part of me is a murderer and that I did not stand for the innocent and I did not stand up against the bully, because I was also being bullied. And it's not that I'm justifying, I'm not giving you the reasons why it was okay to do what I did. I still don't feel okay with what I did. But what I've had to do is forgive myself, the version of me that existed in that moment, who was not strong enough, who didn't see a way out, who was so worried about everyone's opinions and what people would think and how she would survive, she couldn't see her way out. There was a lot of shame, there was a lot of guilt, there was a lot of anger, because unfortunately, the one thing she's ever wanted to be was a mom. So, yes, I'm talking about me in the third person when I say she, because I need to. I need to know, and I need to remind myself that that little girl, that young lady, no longer exists. And I need to forgive that lady for causing herself more grief, because I should have chosen the pain, right? I could have chosen the pain of having to figure it out on my own, which I did eventually. I'm doing it on my own now. Or I chose the pain of staying there and getting rid of a child and trying to make a relationship work instead. Both were painful. I should have chosen my pain, but I didn't know at the time I could. I didn't know at the time people would come and rally around me and help me out a little bit. They wouldn't save me, but they would be around and be supportive. I didn't know at the time. And so I've had to forgive myself, that version of me that didn't know any better, because now I do know better. I chose one timeline, one path of decisions, and it led me to this understanding and realization of the pain afterwards in such a way that right now I am able to speak to young women who are facing the same decision and support them through no matter what they decide. And even afterwards, when, you go through the decision, you don't feel anything, but later on, when you start to see kids and you start to see commercials and you start to think about, life and what could have been, it hits you at some point. The grief will hit you at some point. So I'm grateful that I'm able to use all of this unfortunate knowledge to help other people who are facing the same kinds of decisions and same kinds of toxic situations. But I have, and I've done it several times over, had to sit down and forgive that young lady who didn't know any better, who didn't feel strong enough, didn't feel like she could succeed in leaving the relationship until the day that she did. So I think forgiveness is a really, really big concept, and I think forgiveness is really necessary for you to attain peace in this lifetime. And it helps. It helps to let go of things that are unnecessary. Pain and anger and sorrow that is unnecessary. Yes, it shapes you, it changes you. It is an added piece of information that makes you a little bit more intellectual, more smart, I don't know, intuitive, perhaps. But it's still something that you don't have to carry with you every day. Now, for a while, I carried it with me because I thought it was good to punish myself, until I realized that I wasn't moving as much as I could, and I wasn't doing as much as I could, and I wasn't giving back, and I was not serving because I was so sad. I didn't talk about it that much. So now when I open my mouth and say things and speak up, it's from a place of, yeah, I fucked up. I could have chosen differently. And if the circumstances happen now, I think I would choose differently. But back then, I didn't know any better. And back then, I didn't think I had the support. And back then, I felt alienated from everybody. And I was ashamed and I was scared. And so I made a decision that I thought would be best for all parties involved, when I should have made a decision just for me. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, please drop me a line, send me comments, and in the meantime, do try your best to forgive yourself. We all make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes as long as you're not making the same mistake over and over again. And yeah, I made the same mistake over and over again. There were different circumstances, but it was the same mistake over and over again. And I've learned, and I've grown since then. So I think I'm doing better. I think I'm healing slowly, and I want that for you too. Okay? I love you guys. I'll catch you later. Bye.